Presidential eating habits have long been an object of rapt fascination. Our new president, Joe Biden, is a famous fan of ice cream. He's been photographed eating it more times than anyone cares to count. Barack Obama once ate noodle soup on a plastic chair in Vietnam with Anthony Bourdain. But Donald Trump has an altogether different diet from any other president in history. Trump, who realized years ago that food was a convenient extension of his brand, is, as Fran Lebowitz put it, a poor person's conception of a rich person. Trump owns all sorts of hospitality businesses, several of which have been described as some of the worst restaurants in America. In Trump's bizarre brain, food and restaurants are fandom objects for his cult of personality. Trump's culinary stunts are legion, from his 1995 Pizza Hut commercial with ex-wife Ivana, to Trump steaks, to the bizarre NFL McDonald's steak dinner, to the infamous Trump grilled taco salad incident. The way he gutted U.S. food policy in the past 4 years was never the slightest surprise. Given that, and the fact that it's officially a new day in America, I thought it would be a good moment to think about where our food policy and presidential food messaging is going in the new administration. While Biden's diet has been described as consisting of mostly predictable classics, he likes burgers and fries as much as the next guy from Scranton. Kamala Harris's culinary perspective will be different from anyone to ever hold office in the executive branch. Not only does she cook homemade meals informed by her Indian heritage for her extended family every Sunday, but Harris is friendly with food activists like Chef Jose Andres and both Tom Colicchio and Padma Lakshmi of Top Chef. While on the campaign trail, she even gave Senator Mark Warner a very public lesson in how to make a proper tuna melt after his disastrous soggy tutorial went viral. According to Jessica Bartholomew, a policy advocate for the nonpartisan Western Center on Law and Poverty, in an interview with Civil Eats, short of having somebody who has actually worked in the food system or has experienced hunger themselves, she's about as good as they get on food and hunger. Harris has an impressive record on the subject, having sponsored legislation to improve conditions for farm workers, expand food and water access, and protect the environment. She even worked in restaurants when she was a teenager, and this background will give her a unique perspective as she and Biden tackle the industry's greatest crisis in history. I could spend a long time here going over her various food policy accomplishments, but the short version is that our new vice president loves to eat and understands the importance of supporting everyone in the supply chain. The same, however, cannot necessarily be said for Biden's agriculture secretary pick. Tom Vilsack had the same job all 8 years under Obama, worked for a dairy industry lobby under Trump, and was an advisor to Biden on the campaign trail. He has been widely criticized for his record in the White House by racial justice advocates, in large part because of an incident in 2010 when he fired Shirley Sherrod, a black department official, based on a misleading video released by a right-wing blogger. The former governor of Iowa is considered competent but unpopular. Anyone with the nickname Mr. Monsanto is probably a little too chummy with Big Ag for comfort. Other candidates like Marcia Fudge, who's now running HUD instead, were likely higher on Biden's list, but politics is about nothing if not compromise, especially right now. Speaking of compromises, the Deputy Secretary of Agriculture, Dr. Jewel Bronaugh, is speculated to have been chosen to soften this blow. The first black woman to hold such a high position in the department, she has served as Commissioner of the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services since 2018 and has a long, impressive history on farm issues. Notably, she launched the Farmer Stress Task Force in 2019 to provide mental health support to Virginia farmers in need, and during the Obama years, served as the Virginia State Executive Director for the USDA Farm Service Agency, where she was appointed by Governor Terry McAuliffe and Vilsack. So far, Biden and Vilsack seem to be focused on making sure the millions of people who've been made food insecure due to the pandemic have enough to eat. Last Friday, January 22nd, Biden issued an executive order that expands SNAP benefits by 15 to 20%. He's also made it clear that environmental conservation and imposing existing antitrust rules on Big Ag will be priorities for him. We can be mad about this situation all we want, but some missteps are inevitable in a moment where democracy has been clutched from the gaping maw of an authoritarian toddler in an ill-fitting suit. That said, the very fervor that got Biden elected shows no signs of stopping now that he's in office. We need to keep an eye on him if we want progressive food policy in this country that actually represents all of us. With Kamala Harris as VP, maybe Vilsack will have plenty of pressure from the top, but the past 4 years have definitively shown us that power means far less when it's not backed up by action. This presidency will be frustrating. Biden's genius as a politician is that whatever he champions becomes the middle-left position. He's implementing the most radical policy platform in generations, but he's going to make compromises we don't like. He's the president we need, if not the president we necessarily want. We've achieved the bare minimum, guys. Heck, we've done a little better than that. So take a deep breath, eat a good meal, and keep holding your elected officials accountable for their actions. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, check out my previous ones about weird food history facts. I know I keep saying this in the comments, but I'm really actually going to be uploading more soon, so keep an eye out. Like, subscribe, support me on Patreon if you're so inclined, and let me know what you want me to cover next. It's a new day for democracy, guys.